All right, so now we're going to talk about like the birth chart aspect of it. So for people to kind of figure out what radical decisions you're making in your life. Okay, so mine have been, I've used my birth chart, not as an excuse, as confirmation for things that I felt internally. And that's like a huge thing that I want people to understand, is you're not supposed to read your birth chart and then change yourself to fit your birth chart. Your birth chart, I feel like, should be confirmation for things that you have been feeling within yourself, subconsciously, subtly, intuitively, all of the above. And it just kind of gives you that extra set or extra whatever, like push of support to like take the leap. You know, it's just like, it's that little voice of like, see, you can do it, or like, you're not crazy. And that's like how my birth chart was for me. So especially when I was like really making a lot of these like radical changes in my life, is I was really trying to figure out, but this was before astrology, like before I really started to apply astrology. I've had a loose understanding of like my sun sign, like everybody tends to. But anyway, I was like, who am I? What do I want? And all of the above. And I started meditating, I started therapy, and then I started really learning my birth chart. My birth chart was confirmation for me of things that I was already like feeling and doing. Okay, it wasn't like, oh, I'm a Leo moon, so I need to start dressing this way, and oh, I'm a Pisces Venus and in the 10th house, so I need to do these beauty things, or I need to do this. It was all of these things that I had naturally done for myself that I had a resistance to. My glamour magic routine really rubbed my family the wrong way in ways that I don't really understood. I've never really understood, that I don't understand. Because my mom is like a beauty queen, my grandmother was a beautician, but they would like make fun of me because I every Sunday I would do like a hair mask and a face mask, and I put like teeth whitener on, like this like little gel thing. Like I did all kinds of things, and everyone, like, they would laugh at me. And it got to a point where it wasn't just like fun poking. I was like, you're like actively trying to humiliate me and make me feel bad for doing these things, which eventually worked. They eventually like laid back off on a few things and whatever. And so when I started doing therapy and going through my birth chart, it was like, no, these are natural things that you're doing for yourself energetically, that people in your family or your friends or people around you they could be intimidated by. They could be envious because they don't have that for themselves, or there's thousands of reasons why people could do that. But in a non-accusatory perspective, I like to view it as not anything malicious. They were just adversarial forces for me to have some self-confidence and some self-worth, and to not give a fuck what people think. I firmly believe that everyone in my path that gave me any type of adversarial resistance, I don't believe it to be malicious. I tend to stay on that side even through all of my emotions. I ground myself in the perspective that was a possession, a manifestation of some spiritual force for me to stand up for myself and overcome these things. Because especially as a child, okay, so this is, sorry, hold on. Sorry, I don't want to get lost. But especially as a child, like, you know, you're vulnerable, you're impressionable. And so like, to me, like, a lot of child sacrifice is like you sacrifice your childhood. And so there's all of these things that I did that kind of beat me into place to fit in, right? And so I was super depressed and miserable, and it's like, well, what do I need to do? It's like, no, you just need to honor that inner voice. You need to honor that self-expression. You need to do, like, these are all the things that you need to do. And here is your astrology chart that is telling you, like, you're not crazy for having these natural feelings, because it's how you're made. And so to me, it gave me that extra push to be like, I'm not insane. There is astrology, even if I'm just blaming it on astrology, even if it's pseudoscience, even if it's placebo effect, I found I had to find an external source for me to finally take external material steps, because my inner world and my outer world were completely different, and I was really confused why things weren't aligning. And it's because of all of these other like illusions and weird things that we could get into. But with that being said, so the more I was studying, the more I was meditating, the more I was transforming, and not just healing the things that have happened to me, but really realigning myself with who I am, who I've been meant to be, who I want to be, my desire, my will, all of the things. You have to make some pretty radical change, you have to make some radical decisions that lead to some insane changes that are quite painful and miserable. Honestly, since 2018, life has really not been easy. My life has never been easy. If I can just summarize that up right now, my life has never been easy. But where things felt the heaviest was 2023. Things felt the heaviest all the way into 2024. Before we moved to Nashville. When we moved to Nashville, things lightened up a little bit. Still pretty heavy, but that 2023 astrological year, so March to March, that was probably the heaviest, most miserable time of my life I've ever fucking had. And I had to commit to it the whole way, no matter what. And that has allowed me all of this time to transform myself and to study and do all the things that I do and live like an animal in this sense. I'm focused on my basic needs. And I am working. People are like, oh, so your husband takes care of you, you don't work. No, I'm building a business, and that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, especially when I'm doing it myself. And as I have said before, my husband pays our bills like rent and groceries and making sure that we survive. I work and build my business, and I put money into my business. My husband has put money into my business. But I do a lot of things myself, and that is also part of birth chart things. Is it's I have to learn to accept support, but and it's basically learning interdependence. So I teeter-totter between codependence and hyper independence to finally find that middle ground of interdependence, that doesn't feel so whiplashy and miserable and all of the above. But yeah, it would be so much easier if society was structured this way. The truth is that it's not structured this way. So how do we restructure it this way? And that is by all of the little guys, all of us little ants out here, is just by redirecting our attention, redirecting our focus, redirecting our intention, not just attention, but intention, and building that life for ourselves, and not being afraid to die for it. Cause here's the thing, there was a couple weeks where I was genuinely facing living in my car and homelessness. And cause I probably would have lost my car. I was already about to lose my car. Which was a whole other thing. That's how my father-in-law got involved. Cause it's and I was just gonna let it go. I was I'm letting everything go and I'm surrendering. And people were like, that's mental illness, that's chaotic. And I was like, well, this, I have to commit to this path. And then I kind of went on a side quest, which kind of eased it up a little bit. Sometimes you do have to make those decisions, because going as fast as I did is a quick way. I barely could handle it. I don't think a lot of people can handle that energetically. But I was on a fast track because of just how, I guess, desperate I was for the transformation and the change. And so when I said I was willing to burn it all to the ground, I absolutely was. And I'm really grateful for the people who didn't let me have that hard of a crash landing. But anyway, I was facing these decisions, and I think it was because I looked my husband, I looked everyone dead in the face, and I was like, I believe in myself so fucking much. I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to go homeless. I'm willing to be in all of this debt. I'm willing to carry this load and suffer and put myself in a really bad situation, because that is just how much I believe in me to be successful and for it to all work out. And I am willing to die for it, because I'm willing to fail. I'm willing to fail. I'm willing to be humiliated. I'm risking you telling me I told you so I can tell you I fucking told you so.